Lacrosse Capital. Welcome, welcome. We're going to get this party started in about 1 minute. What's up, Dougal? Dougie Hauser, Gary Parsons. Welcome, welcome. Welcome, folks. Brett Hudson coming to you live from beautiful South Florida. And today is Wednesday, September 24th. I can't believe it. We're almost done with September, heading into, I like to call it the fall season, my favorite time of the year. I love October, November, December. I don't know about you, but I love it. And listen, if you love God and you're struggling with your purpose, your finances, your health, your marriage, this is a great place to connect. I do this Monday through Friday at 12 Eastern. I love to read from spiritual books for about 10, 15, sometimes 20 minutes, and then open it up for discussion, kind of discuss what we read. We've got an amazing Facebook group where you can catch all the replays as well as the other books I've read in the past. That's abundancewithgodgroup.com, abundancewithgodgroup.com. And if you want to follow along in today's reading on the Zoom, you could go to zoom.abundancewithgod.com, zoom.abundancewithgod.com. Welcome, Instagrammers, YouTubers, TikTokers, woo-woo. Listen, Wednesday, let me ask you a question. Where are you guys chiming in from? Have you heard of Joel Osteen? This is the book we're reading. We're in chapter 8. Like I said, you could catch the previous replays in our Facebook group, which is abundancewithgodgroup.com. But Joel Osteen, Your Greater is Coming. Man, I love Joel Osteen. Been following him for 2 decades. Just love his demeanor. I love his personality. He just exudes that, what we call the fruit of the Spirit, right? Love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, self-control, right? How many of you struggle with self-control? I know I do. That's a big one. But I've never seen Joel Osteen get angry, lose control. He's always, for the last 20 years I've been watching him, I mean, he's been the same since day one as he is today. I mean, obviously his messages are better, but man, I just love his books. I love the message. Your Greater is Coming. Discover the path to your bigger, better, and brighter future. A lot of great nuggets we've already covered in the first 7.5 chapters, 8 chapters. We're in chapter 8 now. And so again, my name is Brett Hudson. I do this Monday through Friday at 12 Eastern. Listen, you can't always be on top of the mountain, right? I mean, it would be a great place to stay all the time if you could, but there's a valley below, and some of us, fall into that valley over time. It's an ebb and flow kind of thing called life. And when you're in that valley and you're struggling with your purpose, your finances, your health, your marriage, it's nice to be in a community that are going to help support you, maybe point you in the right spiritual direction, maybe give you some insight through their struggle that you can relate to. So maybe they've gone through the same struggle. So the Facebook community is a great place to connect. We've got over 400 members. Everybody's going to love on you. That's abundancewithgodgroup.com. And all of heaven is connected to Christ in me, right? All of heaven is connected to Christ in you. As Christ is, so are we in this world. God is for us, not against us, right? He works all things for our good. That means the bad and the good. He weaves it all together for our good. And timing and patience, right? That's probably a lot of the things I struggle with personally is, not happening on my time frame, unfortunately. It's always his timing, which is perfect timing. And he might be like saving me from disaster, something negative. He might be preparing me for a blessing. And the good news is you always come out better than you were going into the valley, right? So when you come out of that valley, there's always a provision for you, which means he takes you from glory to glory. He doesn't leave you worse going into the valley, coming out. You're always going to get what's called an upgrade, right? An upgrade. And I like to think of it that way. So in that valley, the time, just know that, again, God hears your prayers. He said it in the Bible. I will, I will, I will, right? He said, I will. So three times he said it, right? I will not fail you, right? I will, I will, I will not fail you. So God is not going to fail us. And it's nice to know that he's for us. And I know being in the valley is hard. It's not easy to go through the struggle. Like I said, again, this is a great community to be part of Monday through Friday at 12 Eastern. And then you can continue with the Facebook group and, just connect with like-minded people who love God and struggled with their purpose, finances, health, marriage, at one time or another, or maybe going through that at this point in time. So before I jump into the reading, and I love today's title, which is Richly Rewarded, right? Richly Rewarded. But before I get into the reading, I always like to read, a verse from the Bible, right? The Bible. What's my shirt say? It says, chosen, not forsaken. Yes, we are all chosen, and we are not forsaken. So we are chosen people. Why do I have so much wine behind me? Because I have a wine business. Matter of fact, Jesus' first miracle was turning water into wine, right? So I must be onto something, right? And so that's enough about that. But anyways, the verse that we're going to read today is 2 Timothy 3:16. That's 2 Timothy 3:16, and it reads, all scripture is God-breathed. That means it's living, right? God-breathed. All scripture is God-breathed and is useful for teaching, rebuking, correcting, and training in righteousness. That means to be in right standing, right? So the Bible is God-breathed. That means it's a living thing, right? The Bible. And I don't know how many times I read and read and read things over and over and over again. And sometimes I see it, sometimes I don't. But when I am ready, it appears, right? When the student is ready, the teacher will appear. And thank God we have the teacher of all teachers, the King of all kings, the Lord of all lords. And, I like to pray. I started, instead of praying to God, I pray with God now, right? He's my buddy, sits next to me I like to start my morning off on my knees. I like to read from scripture at noontime like now. And then I like to finish the day on my knees and just thanking God for another amazing day. The shortest prayer in the world is help me, right? So anyways, hope you got something from that verse, and let's jump right into the reading, right? Richly rewarded. And I'm going to read for 10, 15, maybe 20 minutes, and then we'll open it up for discussion. So welcome. Drop a comment below. I'd love to know if you heard of Joel Osteen. We're reading Your Greater is Coming. If you want to follow along, you could go to zoom.abundancewithgod.com. If not, just sit back, make yourself some popcorn, eat your lunch, and, look for some value in today's reading. So it starts off with richly rewarded. We're all richly rewarded. The book of Hebrews says, don't cast away your confidence, for it will be richly rewarded. It's easy to hear this and think, Joel, this is never going to happen for me. I've had a lot of bad breaks. I've had a lot of obstacles in my path. I'm behind where I should be. That kind of thinking is going to limit your life. That's causing away your confidence. God is saying your time is coming. I'm about to do something unusual, something uncommon. I'm going to thrust you ahead. I'm going to free you from the addiction you've struggled with for years. I'm going to vindicate you, pay you back for the wrongs you've suffered. I'm going to take you from insignificant and mediocre to influential and powerful. Now you have to get into agreement with God. You have to start thanking him that your time is coming. Talking as though it's going to happen, believing that it's on the way. That's what it means to not cast away your confidence. When you do this, God promises that you will be richly rewarded. Look at how good God is. To just be rewarded would be fine, but God will exceed your expectations. He'll make things happen that you didn't see coming. Now, don't get talked out of your dreams. You may feel like David did, that you're stuck out in the shepherd's field and nobody pays attention to your gifts. You're in a prime position to be catapulted to a new level. People may not pay attention, but God sees you. He sees the one who matters. He controls the universe. He has already scheduled your set times of favor, set times of healing, set times of acceleration. There are moments in your future that are going to cause you to stand out, moments that will catapult you to a new level, moments when favor will come looking for you. There's a young man who attends Lakewood. He had a dream to become a physician and graduated from college with honors. He applied to 40 medical schools, but only 3 contacted him back. He interviewed with them, but he was turned down. He was so disappointed. This was what he had always wanted to do. He had put all of his time, energy, and focus into getting into medical school, but now that door had closed. He didn't understand it. He had worked so hard, but instead of being sour, he kept believing that his time was coming. He knew that God didn't bring him this far to leave him. When things happen that aren't fair, when you don't understand, you have to trust that God is still in control and that he knows what's best for you. His ways are not our ways, right? God doesn't think logical. He puts the super in natural, right? But instead of being sour, he kept believing that his time was coming. He knew that God didn't bring him this far to leave him. When things happen that aren't fair, when you don't understand, you have to trust that God is still in control and that he knows what's best for you. His ways are not our ways. He doesn't always take us down the path that we thought. There will be times when doors close and don't make sense, when people who should be for us are not around, and when we're doing the right thing but the wrong thing keeps happening. None of that is a surprise to God. He's already lined up the breaks you need, the open doors, the right people, the healing, the baby. It's already on your schedule. This young man attended a seminar for students who wanted to get into medical school. One option they mentioned was working for the armed services. When he heard that, something ignited inside. He knew that's what he wanted to do. He met a gentleman there who took an interest in him and went out of his way to put in a good word for him. This time, the young man received news that he was accepted with a full scholarship for the Armed Forces Medical School. He would not only have no cost for his medical education, but he would be paid a substantial salary while he attended school. What happened? He came into one of his set times. If God had not closed the other doors, if a school would have accepted him earlier, he would have never seen this opportunity that was more than he could imagine. He never dreamed he would be paid the whole time and to come out of medical school with no debt. If you won't cast away your confidence, God will richly reward you. You may have gone through some disappointments. Things didn't turn out the way you had hoped, but you don't know what God is up to. The reason he closed the other doors is because he had something better. Don't be discouraged by what didn't work out. Stay in faith. Your time is coming. The right opportunity is on its way. It's going to be better than you thought. If someone walked out of your life, it may have been unfair and painful, but it didn't stop your destiny. They left only to make room for someone better. God has beauty for those ashes. You haven't seen your best days. Keep moving forward when you don't understand. Keep being your best when it's not fair. So let me see. We could probably cover one more page here. So suddenly is the title. Suddenly. This is what Joseph did in the scripture. Year after year, how could he have a good attitude after being betrayed by his brothers, sold into slavery, and put into prison for something that he didn't do? Deep down, he knew his time was coming. He knew what God had spoken to him as a teenager. The dream that was put in his heart would come to pass. He didn't know how, when, or where. All he knew was that God is faithful and that a set time was already on the calendar. He didn't cast away his confidence, even though he had a lot of bad breaks and plenty of opportunities to give up. But when you understand that God is ordering your steps, that nothing can happen to you without his permission, you won't fall apart when an illness hits. You won't live bitter when someone does you wrong. You won't give up on your dream when life throws you a curve. You know it's all part of God's plan. That setback is only setting you up to go further. God has the solution before you had the problem. He's already set the time to turn it around, set the time to open the right door. Set the time to bring you out promoted, vindicated, healthy, and whole. One day, Pharaoh, the ruler of Egypt, did not understand the meaning of a dream that he had. The scripture says Pharaoh sent for Joseph. He was hastily brought from the dungeon into Pharaoh's presence, just as King Saul had said. Send me the shepherd named David to the palace. Pharaoh said, send me the prisoner who interprets dreams. Send me the slave named Joseph. Both times the promotion came looking for them. You don't have to look for the blessing. The blessing is going to come looking for you. Joseph was brought into the palace hastily. He wasn't expecting it. It had been an ordinary day in the prison, nothing special, and suddenly he was in the palace. He didn't see it coming. There wasn't any sign of it. He woke up a slave in prison and went to bed that night, the prime minister. God has some of these suddenlies in your future. You don't see anything improving. Everything looks the same, but you come into a set time. It's going to happen hastily, in a hurry, and quickly things will turn around. Quickly the doors open. Quickly your health improves. It may be difficult now, but at any moment you could get a call as Joseph did. Send me Julie. Send me William. Send me Maria. Send me Brett. That's how you stay in faith. You have to keep this hope in your heart, knowing that God has already lined up these set times for you. If you only look at your situation in the natural, you'll get discouraged because God puts dreams in our hearts that we can't accomplish on our own. We don't have the resources, the connections, or the experience. He does. He does this, so we have to depend on him. We face challenges that we can't overcome by ourselves. It might be a sickness, an addiction, or people who are more powerful. It looks as though we're stuck, but deep down, you have to know that the forces that are for you are greater than the forces that are against you. You may feel outnumbered and at a disadvantage. The sickness seems bigger, the addiction stronger. Keep reminding yourself that your time is coming. One touch of God's favor, one set time, and things will suddenly change. Nothing can stand against our God. No sickness is too powerful. No addiction too strong. No sickness is too great. No addiction too strong. And no enemy too powerful. And so we'll stop there and we'll jump in. We're still in chapter 8, but I think that's enough to cover. We're 17 minutes into this. And, just to kind of recap, again, my name is Brett Hudson. If you're chiming into our TikTok, Instagram, or YouTube a little later, you can always catch me Monday through Friday at 12 Eastern. Our Facebook group where you can catch the replays is abundancewithgodgroup.com, abundancewithgodgroup.com. But in the reading, just to kind of recap, it started with the title, Richly Rewarded. Just to be rewarded would be fine, but God will exceed your expectations. He doesn't always take us down the path that we thought, right? If you look back at your mosaic of life so far, I'm sure it's not what you expected, right? It's usually better. And it's usually not the way you anticipated it happening. So the reason he closed the other doors is because he has something better for you, right? He's already set the time to turn it around, set the time to open the right door, set the time to bring you out promoted, vindicated, healthy, and whole. God had some of these suddenlies in your future. If you only look at your situation in the natural, you'll get discouraged because God puts dreams in our hearts that we can't accomplish on our own. And the last bullet point was, when you come into your set time, God will make things happen that you couldn't make happen on your own. So, man, how awesome, how positive is that, right? Knowing that you have a set time on the calendar of God's for you to come into your blessing, a prepared blessing by him. That's an upgrade, taking you from where you're at, the pit to the palace, like he did for Joseph. It's just, and it's not going to happen like you thought. It's going to be bigger and better than what you thought, right? That setback is a setup for a comeback, bigger and better. So anyways, I hope you got some great value from today's reading. Remember, each morning you have a choice. Yeah, you have a choice. You can take the psychopath or you can take that spiritual path, right? I've been down that psychopath. That's a bumpy ride, you know? And that's why I start off in the mornings on my knees, right? And then in the afternoon, some spiritual reading, and then hit my knees in the evening because, man, the spiritual path is the easier, softer way. I choose that way. I want to be created more in the image of God, right? Developing that fruit of the Spirit, love, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, self-control. I want more of that, right? And with that, be blessed. I'll catch you guys tomorrow at noon Eastern. Tomorrow's Thursday, and we'll jump in. The Believe the Promise is the title. I'm sorry. Light comes bursting in. Light comes bursting in. That's the title going into the end of chapter 8. With that, be blessed. Have a great day, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Same bad channel, same bad time, and bye for now.